Los Angeles has always had its share of dangerous men. Some operated in the shadows of organized crime, others lurked in gangs, and some carved out reputations so violent they became legends of the underworld. Among them was one man whose name stood out, Jack Whalen, better known on the streets as the Enforcer. For years in mid-20th century Los Angeles, Whalen's reputation as a hitman and muscle for the mob made him one of the most feared figures in the city. His story is one of violence, power, and a violent end that revealed just how dangerous life in Los Angeles' criminal world could be. Jack Whalen was born in 1918 in Nebraska and later moved to Los Angeles, where he quickly fell into a life of crime. By the 1940s and 1950s, LA was becoming a battleground for control of rackets. Gambling, bookmaking, and labor unions all provided opportunities for organized crime. Whalen was not a man of subtlety. Big, imposing, and known for his brutal fists, he became a key enforcer for the mob. If someone owed money, crossed the wrong person, or threatened to interfere in rackets, Whalen was often the man sent to deal with it. Though Whalen's reputation was tied to violence, he wasn't just a hired gun. He cultivated influence in the city's criminal circles, forging alliances with powerful mobsters like Mickey Cohen. Whalen often worked as muscle for Cohen's operations, and he was known for handling things directly. Stories spread of him walking into bars and settling disputes with his fists or with a pistol on the table. His reputation became so widespread that even those who didn't know him personally feared his name. By the mid-1950s, Whalen was deeply tied into Los Angeles' criminal underworld. He was often described as a fixer as much as a hitman, someone who could handle problems violently but also had the connections to make things disappear. His loyalty to Cohen put him at odds with rival gangs and mob bosses who were looking to carve up Los Angeles for themselves. It was a dangerous position to be in, but Whalen thrived on danger. Like many gangsters of his era, Whalen enjoyed the high life. He frequented nightclubs on the Sunset Strip, mingled with showgirls, and moved in Hollywood circles where mobsters rubbed shoulders with actors. But he never lost his edge as a man who solved problems with violence. He carried himself like a star, but everyone knew his real fame came from fear. Whalen's downfall came as quickly as his rise. In December 1959, Whalen was at Rondelli's restaurant in East Los Angeles. The spot was a well-known mob hangout, and on that night it became the stage for his final showdown. According to reports, Whalen had been feuding with another mobster, Johnny Stompanato, over influence and respect. Stompanato, who himself was infamous for his relationship with actress Lana Turner, was closely tied to Mickey Cohen's crew. Tensions between the two men had been boiling. As Whalen sat inside the restaurant, a heated argument broke out. In a matter of seconds, guns were drawn. Jack Whalen was shot multiple times and collapsed in front of stunned onlookers. Witnesses recalled chaos as patrons fled, leaving the feared enforcer bleeding on the floor. He died at just 41 years old, bringing a violent end to a life defined by violence. His death sent ripples through the Los Angeles underworld. For years, Whalen had been one of the city's most dangerous men, surviving in a world where betrayal was common and survival was never guaranteed. But in the end, even he couldn't escape the cycle of violence that defined organized crime. No one was ever held fully accountable for his killing, and like so many gangland deaths of the era, it faded into the long list of unsolved underworld murders. Whalen's story has often been overshadowed by bigger names, Mickey Cohen, Bugsy Siegel, and Johnny Stompanato. But to those who lived in Los Angeles during the 1950s, his reputation was unmistakable. He was a hitman who commanded fear, a man whose name carried weight in the darkest corners of the city. His life also reflected the strange overlap between Hollywood and organized crime. Whalen's world of mobsters, clubs, and gangland feuds often intersected with the city's movie stars and nightlife. In Los Angeles, the line between celebrity and gangster blurred. Stars drank in the same bars where hits were planned, and mobsters courted actresses as casually as they ordered champagne. Whalen was part of that culture, feared by some, admired by others, and remembered by all who crossed his path. In hindsight, Jack Whalen's life was a cautionary tale. For all his toughness and reputation, he couldn't escape the fate that so many in organized crime eventually meet. The bullets that ended his life were the same ones he had lived by for decades. His death reinforced what insiders always knew. In the underworld of Los Angeles, no one was untouchable, not even the most dangerous hitman in the city. Today, Whalen's story stands as a reminder of a violent chapter in Los Angeles history. It captures the mix of glamour and brutality that defined mid-century Hollywood, where gangsters operated in the open and violence was never far from the surface. For those who knew him or lived through his era, Jack Whalen was more than a name in the papers. He was a man who embodied the ruthlessness of organized crime in Los Angeles, and whose violent end showed just how dangerous that life could be.